Instructor AJ Wood. Thanks for joining me for another round of Photoshop tips. Today's video is brought to you by Tiffinbox, where image makers go for views, reviews, and interviews online. Let's go ahead and jump in. So this is actually a trick I showed off during Midnight Madness at Photoshop World almost 2 years ago, and it was how to create a better drop shadow by separating layer styles. So you can see I actually did this demonstration under a little bit of duress, but let me show you how it goes. I'm going to start by making a selection of the model that I have on screen. So I'll use the magic wand to grab the background, and then I do Command Shift I, which would be Control Shift I on a PC, to actually select the model by doing an inverse, and I'll clean this up by using the quick selection tool. So I'm just going to clean up her arm by painting, and then I've got a little spot to knock out here around her elbow, and that selection looks like it'll work pretty well. Now whenever you use the quick selection tool, you do want to follow it up with Refine Edge, so I'll go ahead and just click the Refine Edge button, and what I'm going to do here is just smooth this selection out just a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and choke it in. It doesn't have to be a pristine selection because I am really just looking to create this drop shadow effect. So I'm just going to kind of tighten it up, and I'll go ahead and take that selection and just map it to a new layer. So I'll click OK, and I'll turn on my background, and you can see here of course is the model on the new layer. Now I'll use my effects and I'll add a drop shadow. And you can see that this drop shadow is there right behind the model. I'm just pulling her out with the mouse. I'm going to leave the opacity set at 100%, and if you wanted to, you could play around with the size, hey, to soften up the shadow. And I'll go, let's say, we'll do about 10 pixels and to kind of soften up the shadow. And that's really about it. The placement of the shadow doesn't matter too much. I'll just leave it right there so you can see it, and I'll click OK. Now, the way that this trick works is I'm actually going to separate the drop shadow from the actual layer, the image layer. And I can do this by simply right-clicking on the drop shadow and choosing the command called Create Layer. Now it tells me that, some effects might not reproduce well, but that's okay. The drop shadow does. So what I've done is actually separated the drop shadow. So if I hide the model, you can see there is the drop shadow peeking out. And this allows me to do a free transform on that shadow. So I'll go ahead and just kind